Don't buy new Toyota Tacoma tires until you try this. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Robmotive. And that's right, don't buy new Toyota Tacoma tires until you try this. You know, I've had many new tires, mostly because I've been disappointed, and I probably should have taken my own advice. You know, I've had stock tires, you know, the all seasons. I've had Nitto Ridge Grapplers. I've had Goodyear Duratracs. I've had Falcon Wild Peak AT3Ws, which, by the way, I think are the best. And currently I'm running BF Goodrich KO2s on my 2021 Toyota Tacoma. Now, the thing that always turned me off about the other ones that I've had, probably the worst, were the Nitto Ridge Grapplers, was how firm the ride was and how poor the traction was in rain or wet conditions. You know, I don't know why I changed so many times without trying this, but I certainly should have. And what I'm talking about is simple. It's air pressure. I'm driving around right now, and you know, we had a couple of weather fronts go through. We had some pretty drastic temperature changes for what we have here in South Texas. Granted, I mean, it's 84 degrees right now, so definitely not freezing cold, but we did lose about 20-some degrees a couple of times because of weather fronts that went through. And that, of course, can change your tire pressure. And it did for my trucks. It lowered it. And it lowered it by about 3 or 4 pounds, something like that, in each tire. So I went from where I usually run, which is about 36 or so, down to somewhere around 32, 33 pounds. And I noticed while I was out driving around at that level that the truck felt pretty darn smooth. Took the bumps pretty well, didn't feel a lot of these rough roads that we have down here, which, by the way, I think we probably have, at least for me, the worst roads I've ever driven on anywhere down here in South Texas. Probably because of the heat, constantly cooking the asphalt. Little stones pop out, develop little holes. They're kind of rough with lots of stones sticking up. So I was noticing that I wasn't feeling as much of that. You know, more gliding along the road as you should, as opposed to bouncing over every little pebble and stone and imperfection in the road. So I knew these fronts had gone through, I knew the weather had changed, and I know that that's going to affect the tire pressure. I had looked at it on my screen and saw that it had dropped. So I fired up the air compressor. I hate putting air in tires, by the way, almost as much as I despise washing trucks. But anyway, I persevered. I grabbed the air compressor, the tire pressure gauge, fired that sucker up, went around and put air in every tire I had. All my trucks, my wife's Jeep, everything. So now I'm driving around, and I'll tell you where I'm at. I'm running right now, and I've been driving for a little bit, so obviously the pressure has increased, but I'm at 38 pounds in the tires after driving around. I think I started at 36, I think, on all four. Might have had 35 on one. That's a pet peeve of mine too, by the way. You ever fire up the screen in your truck, look at it, and one tire is different? You're running, I don't know, 36, and one of them reads 35. God forbid it'd be 34. That's a pet peeve of mine, drives me nuts. But right now, we're balanced. Everything is running at 38, which might be a tad bit high. And that's the problem. You know, running at 36, 35, 36, which is where I set these, I think it's too much pressure for the tires. I think it makes them too firm. Because as I'm driving around right now, I can really feel the road. I can feel all those little bumps and indentations. We're about to go over a railroad track in just a minute. It's a 55-mile-an-hour road. I'm going to take it at 55. And then I'm going to be on the worst road that I drive on, the one that's the roughest. So you may see things bouncing around a little bit. You may even be able to hear it in my voice. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to lower the pressures back down. I'll leave the truck sit until it cools down, and then I'll probably lower them to right about 34, I think. 34 for these BF Goodrich KO2s is just about perfect for my driving style, for my comfort level. And by the way, I'm running a 265/75 R16, I believe. So I have decent tread wall. I've got about as most comfort as you can get out of the tires to absorb everything with that tread wall. That was the railroad tracks. So I would say that, before you decide to go out and buy new tires for your Toyota Tacoma, let's say, and I'm really speaking more if you've put some aftermarkets on, or different than stock, let's say, some more aggressive tires, you probably ought to maybe finagle with the air pressure a little bit. If you're finding them to be uncomfortable, which I have in the past, believe me, I think part of that might have been because the air pressures were just too high. Had I gone down a little bit, I'd have probably been okay. But let me tell you why I'm not comfortable doing that, not comfortable going too low. I've heard of people running these bigger tires. It's somewhere in the 32, 33 pound range, or pressure range. And I've got to say, the big worry for me is that you'll break the bead. In other words, you'll lose the seal, you'll have a flat tire. Now, I don't know how low you have to go. I'm pretty sure that 33, 32 pounds or PSI is not low enough to have to worry about anything. We're on that bumpy road again, remember, so probably seeing me bounce around a little bit. But I don't think that's really too low to worry about, but I do think that's probably just a little bit too soft. Of course, you have to be concerned with tire wear. You go too low, it's bad. You go too high, you cup the tire and it wears in the center, but not the sides. All that stuff that you have to worry about with tires when you're messing with the air pressure. But at these, for me, at least from the most recent weather change, at about 33, 34 pounds, I think I'll probably put it about 33, like I said. I think that's just about perfect. Gives you a nice ride on the road, feels pretty good. Now, the other thing I want to mention, and this again I'm guilty of, is the loss of traction on wet conditions. I think I had my previous tires, the Ridge Grapplers, overinflated. It was kind of a combination. Really, the firmer rubber compound that's in those tires, as well as the tire pressure, kind of bulging out the tire, so it was riding on less surface. Of course, that's going to give you less traction. Add water or wet conditions to it, it's going to be even worse. So I think that was probably my fault. So if you're uncomfortable with yours, if you've changed them recently and maybe are a little disappointed in the ride quality you have, do yourself a favor. You're probably overinflated. I would go out, let out some pressure, maybe run at 33, 34, see if you notice a difference, and if you don't like those tires, a little bit better. Anyway, leave a comment, let me know if you've experienced this exact same thing, maybe changed your pressures a little bit, and what you have found to be the perfect, the optimal tire pressure for bigger, more aggressive tires. I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Robmotive JT, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. And Robmotive FST, all about my experiences with full-size trucks. Check it out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay comfortable out there. Bye.